Hey, y'all. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to start over because the door closed. Hey,
Mhm.
guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are interviewing the founder and owner of Nurclex Healthcare Institute. And I just want her to tell you all of her awesomeness. I'm not even going to give her an intro. We're going to jump right in and figure out the why, the when, the who, so that if her story resonates with you, you know what to do to help your business improve in so many different ways as well. So thank you so much, Shian, for being here today. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me, Naz.
Of course, of course. So let the people know. Tell us about your background and how you even got into creating a NCLEX training school.
So it started, well, I've had my LPN for many years, for probably about 5 or so years. And I decided to transition into RN. Went to RN school, completed it. And a little bit after, I had someone, I can't remember who it is now, but someone came to me and said, "Hey, I have a friend. They're failing a test or they're failing their class in their nursing school. Can you help them?" I said, "Sure." And I think I even did it for free. I think so. I was like, "Sure, I just took my RN exam for NCLEX. I was studying, so maybe I'll be able to be, some kind of, wealth of knowledge." Sat with the student for however long. She passed her next exam and was able to pass her class.
Mm,
And then she asked me for a friend of hers. So it
mm,
started like one student to the next student to the next student until now there's hundreds of students. And
wow.
probably thousands of students because it's been 10 years.
Oh
So
my
10 years, I
goodness.
started officially 10 years ago. Before that, I actually have been teaching before that, but I decided, I said, I need to make this into a real business. And so I started to look into that. It wasn't as easy as it is today where everybody's talking about entrepreneur, building business and all that. It was like, okay, let me go and look up how to make a business. How does that work? Okay, there's LLC. What does that mean? And so just kind of teaching myself the ropes of how to become a entrepreneur. And so
Wow. That is so inspiring. So your goal was just to become an RN and be a nurse, and it led into you helping others do the same. So through your journey, because you have taught over 1,000 students at this point, I've seen your records.
yeah.
Through this journey, what has been the most fulfilling part of watching these students on their journey to the NCLEX?
The most, I want to say, fulfilling part is when basically we're changing people's lives,
Mhm.
because students have been either struggling with this exam, they've been out of school for many years, and they kind of have this feeling of like, can I really do this? And
Mhm.
so when they actually do it, they are over the moon. They're like, they can't even fathom what to even do next. And then there's this imposter syndrome. Am I really the nurse? But really, changing their life and changing the trajectory of their lives, right? Their lives were going how they were. And now this is like a branch, this is a turning point where, now they're in a new career,
Mhm.
paid most times more than what they have before, and kind
Mhm.
of just bridging that gap between not passing to passing.
Yeah.
That's what I do for the students. So feeling that breakthrough, getting that monkey off of their back with this exam, definitely is one of the high points of dealing with my students. I love that.
Yeah, and I love that too because it nursing does open up so many doors, and that's one of those careers that's really not going anywhere, So there's job security and the income is there. You can do travel nursing, you can do, so if you really want to earn a great living, becoming a nurse is definitely the way to go. And you can become a nurse practitioner, that's not even the ceiling for you. You could work at administration, so I love that door opening that you're giving, these students who are saying, I don't think I can pass this test, or I've taken it and failed it so many times. And then they find you. And what I've been seeing is that these repeat fail test takers, if you will, they take your program one time and pass. So it's like there's something happening here that is special. You know what I mean? It's not just the run of the mill NCLEX prep program that you see. This program is actually helping students. What do you think separates your program from the others that are out there?
I think because we've actually taken the time to know what the you would say the low points of each piece of the puzzle of their study routine, and
Mm.
kind of giving them things to help one motivate, help get rid of the anxiety or deal with the anxiety. Also, we're giving them measurable data that shows them you're doing good, you're doing great, you're not doing good, you need to work on these things, you're getting what your weaknesses are, and kind of focusing on that, but also giving them a blueprint is the biggest thing of how to study, what to study, and what you need to do and measures that you need to hit to be able to be successful. So that's why anyone could come and take the class if they've been out of school for 17 years or
Mhm.
1 year. It Everyone can do the same thing. It's just all about the blueprint and giving them exactly what they need so they're able to succeed.
Got you, got you. You want to put your phone on do not disturb for your laptop?
Oh, can you hear that? Oh, I
Yeah,
thought I did.
it's okay.
I put quit messages. I don't know if it's my phone or the computer, but let me try it again. Messages is not here, and I quit, shut down messages, quit messages. Maybe it was my phone.
Okay, and do focus mode or something. No, you're doing good though.
Oh, you know what? Don't I could do this thing? Yeah. Okay. So it's on silent.
Okay, and then go like this to your hair, right? This on this side. There you go.
This side?
Yep, perfect. All right. So, and that's perfect. And what I saw, what was unique to me about your school was the fact that there's live instruction. So a lot of the other the NCLEX programs that I saw online when I was doing a SWOT analysis for your program, was that there was just a lot of like resources, like here's some downloads, here's some practice quizzes, this, that, and the third. But what I found very unique about your program is that there's live instruction so that the students are actually learning in real time, but they can also go back and rewatch it if they missed anything, if they missed the whole live recording. And I just thought that that was so unique because I don't see that happening a lot. What made you guys include live instruction in your NCLEX prep?
Partly because of me. I like to feel, touch, and hear from the students. I've been told many times, oh, you can make it a recording and that be it. But I feel like there's something in that where students are able to touch, feel the instructor and be able to get real time feedback on whether or not their thoughts are going in the right direction with the disease process. So I feel like that's also a part of the secret sauce to get students back on track and get their license.
I love that. I love that. So, you've been in business for 10 years, which well, not all of us know what that feels like because everyone hasn't gotten to that market, but we know that building a business comes with a lot of time and effort and energy. And for you, literally people's lives depend on what you do. Their livelihoods depend on it. How do you take breaks and rest in your business, or are you able to do that, being in business for 10 years?
Well, that's always the goal, right? The goal is to, okay, get this in order so that I could, rest a bit or I don't do these things. But how I do that, I force myself. I
Yeah.
have to force myself. I'm like, okay, put the phone away, put the computer away, and force myself to be able to just say, okay, this is time away from the business, and filtering everything to go through the business line, business processes, and try not to interfere with the process. Because some of the students, because they've known me for 10 years. Some of them have my personal phone number, so they will
Mhm.
call me or text me or email me something. So try to just forward it over to the team or have someone else deal with whatever it is so that I can kind of get a hands off a
Mhm.
feel and I work from the background.
Awesome. And I
Cool.
did. Okay, I got you. I got you. And I met you previously, but more recently, we've been working together with your operations mainly to make sure that you have that ability to kind of step away from your school, but not worry about things, getting slipped through the cracks or the ball being dropped. So, talk to me a little bit about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, even 8 years ago. How have your operations been? What systems were you using, and what made you realize that you needed a change?
Um, what did they say? More money, more problems. So it was more students, more problems, right? And so it was, how do I streamline all of this, right? I'm getting all these calls. I'm getting all the students. They want to sign up. It's only me, right? When I first started out, how can I get that process automated? And this is before they were talking about automations and funnels and all the things, right? And so I was just trying from one thing to the next. I said, okay, let me make a email that I can like just send out to students, and just trying to just streamline and just find a way on how to make everything more automated and so that I was able to interact with more students in a shorter time because the more time you take in getting back to a student or even interacting back with questions and things of that nature, the more you can lose them, right? So I would be like on the phone up to the wee hours emailing them back. um,
Mhm.
but obviously after time that becomes very daunting and very you can get burned out, right? Even though that is the passion, but you can get burned out. So introducing your program into it, I was using, I don't know, probably like 7 or 8 different things to
Let's talk
try.
about those programs because I remember when we had our call, I'm like, you using what now? So I know you use a job form. What were you using
Job
job
form.
form for?
Job form was for documents. So we need the documents for clinicals. So they would upload their clinical documents in there, and then they had to sign their documents to start registration forms, if you will.
Mm-hmm,
So that's
mm-hmm.
what job form was for.
Okay. I know you were using Kajabi because you also sorry. You were using Kajabi because I know you have an online platform element to your teaching where there's resources and things like that. So I know you were using Kajabi for that. You're using MailChimp if I am
No,
I mis-
I think I was going to use mail per trip. No, the mail was coming from Kajabi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Kajabi was the mail. The Kajabi was like email marketing stuff, website,
Mm-hmm.
and the LMS.
Mm.
Then I had Zapier to talk to the other things that needed to talk to so I could try to make it connect.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there was a phone. The phone system was something else. I had to connect to something else.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, oh my gosh, there's so much. But at the end of it all, I was trying to get something that could connect to each other. So
Mm-hmm.
that was the biggest thing. And then also to add text messages. So if you want text messages, then you got to make sure it talks to this and this talks to that. And I can't tell you how much hours I spent trying to connect it all.
Mm.
Because then you have to build the connection. I know it's called something, but you have to
Yeah.
build that. It
Yeah.
doesn't just talk to each other. Although they will say they can talk to each other, it's still a process to make it talk to each other. And then
Mm.
when it talks to each other, making sure it's what you wanted it to say correctly. So
Yeah.
it was chaotic trying
Mm.
to get everything in in line and to talk and automate. It is not easy.
It's not. It's
And
not.
it was my biggest fight that I knew I needed it, but finding the resource of where to go for that was my biggest fight or
Mhm.
dilemma.
Yeah. And I realized that it didn't really exist, not in the way that you guys needed, school owners needed to work to make your lives easier. And so we were like, well, let's build it. Because at the end of the day, my husband and myself, we've been working with vocational schools since 2018. So we understand the struggles, right? We understand that students will waste your time. We understand that your time is valuable because that time needs to go into instructing students and making sure that they're ready for their state exams and all of the things. So you feasibly cannot grow if you're in the weeds every single day.
You
And like
can't.
you said, technology is scary because you want it to work, but sometimes it breaks. And if you don't necessarily have the time or the energy to figure out, okay, well, what went wrong? What's going on?
Mhm.
That in itself is a headache. So even those people who are like, okay, I'm willing to give technology a try, but that's their barrier, right? They're like, well, I know if I touch it, I know it's going to be right. But if I depend on technology to touch it, something might get messed up. And that's what they're most afraid of. What gave you the confidence to allow technology into your business?
I was tired. 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 So just even just sitting, I mean, you literally could sit for hours trying to figure it out to make it talk to each other. And
Mhm.
as things go on into your business, you're building it. So it's like, oh, I now need a new automation that does this thing. So then it's building with all the thoughts that come in my head of how to automate it. So I was tired. I was
Mhm.
tired and I knew I needed something. So I know um when I reached out around that time, I know my year, I'm like, I need to automate this because I can't go on like this. And if I am going to do, X amount of students at a time, I need it to be able to onboard one student or 1,000 students. That's how
Mhm.
I was looking at it. And I'm not going to sit and try to stress myself. If I do get 1,000 students all at one time, how am I going to manage that? And so that was always my fear. Like the more you market, more you get, but you have to be able to manage those people as well. So that
I
was
love
my biggest
that.
thing.
No, I love that. And that's so true. And I love that you're so forward thinking in your business. Even before I was thinking about automation, you were already like, let me figure this thing out.
Mhm.
So now using the Startup Pro software powered, School Pro is sorry, let me start over. So now in Walk School Pro, powered by Startup Pro, and our job is to make your lives easier, right? So in what ways has you so, in what ways have you, what am I trying to say? So, how has your life become easier with using the software?
Well, the automation is already made. And if I come up tomorrow and I'm like, Nas, I need this automation to do this, Nas is like, sure, tell me what you want it to do. And I'm like, I want it to talk to this. I want this to be created. I want this to be done. And she's like, okay, no problem. Do, 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 do. I get an email. Okay, you need to do this to start the automation. Let me know if it works. Easy. I don't have to be up at night. I don't have to be up throughout the day. I don't have to waste any time in automating anything or anything that I decide that I want to create or anything I decide is now a forefront or a focus because things change.
Mhm.
But definitely making it easier, automating things, and just being that back end bestie to help get some of that back end stuff done and filtered through and done, like finished, completed. I don't have to even think about it.
And how has it impacted your students in any way, negatively?
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Well, you see the messages where they're like, your customer service is so amazing. You guys reach out to us super fast. Oh my gosh. Like students, even if they have a gripe with something or they're upset about something or whatever, just because we get back to them super fast, super quick, they they're like, okay, we fixed it. Okay. They're good. You know what I mean? If we're not taking, days upon days to remedy whatever the problem is or issue that they may have had. We're fixing it right there and then, and that's kind of the beautiful thing about it. And the system is easy to use. And then, you know, we have the team that can help to manage any gripes or things. You know, they can't get into the portal, doesn't show this. Send a quick email, it's done, and they can message back the student. So the customer service is A1. Students love that part. Like I said, even though if they have a problem with something, they don't get too perturbed because we get back to them and we fix the issue quickly. That's what it's.
I love that. I love that. Customer service, honestly, from a business operations standpoint, I always look at the customer journey as the most critical because without customers, you don't have a business, right? And
Right.
so that customer experience is heavily reliant on communication. And I think small business owners don't really look at that. They consider the service that they're providing or the product that they're providing, but they don't really think about, okay, how does my customer feel when they're receiving the service? You know, what is their experience like? What is their journey like? What does that process look like? And that is the very much, that is the, what am I trying to say? The customer journey, the process of that is the most important piece. It's not the end goal. It's the starting point to the end goal, right? So it's that entire picture from start to finish that matters. And so we want to make sure that that translates, even with automation. I think a lot of people's fear is that if I use technology in my business, it's going to lose a personal touch. What would you say to a school owner that feels that way?
It doesn't. Like, just getting back to the student, like all they worry about is that did their problem get fixed? They don't care. They half the time they don't know who's talking to them.
Mhm.
They don't know if it's me. They don't know if it's not. They don't know if it's smoke. They don't know who it is. They don't have no idea. The problem is, I have a problem. Can you fix it? You fixed it. Thank you so much, team.
Yeah.
So it doesn't. It doesn't. It's like we create problems as entrepreneurs of what we think happened, but that's not what happened. They were just worried about the problem. Did we fix it? Yeah, that's it. We provided that solution to them.
Yeah. And I know for me, I wanted to make sure that each school kind of still had that same brand voice, right? And
Yeah.
so for the customer service team, because as much as I would like to be able to answer all the questions and help with all the things, I
Mhm.
don't physically have the capabilities of doing that. But that is why there's a customer support team to assist and aid all of the schools that use our software. So they're getting software, you're getting software, yes, and that's important. But we do know that there's still some things that need a human touch. And so we use chat, we use AI to create that brand voice for the schools, and then our customer service team, especially to make sure that they all sound the same when they're talking, they're utilizing chat to respond to the students and things like that because there is a level of consistency in that brand voice that's still important. And like you said, the student doesn't care or know who they're talking to, but it's great to have something set up to make sure that it's always professional. The questions are always being answered correctly because there's a training manual, you know, that is built into chat to help train it to say, hey, this is if it's remediation, this is what they need. If it's review, this is what they need. So talk to me a little bit about your different programs that you offer through Nurclex.
The different programs we have NCLEX review and remediation with the Board of Nursing. So we're board approved to give a remediation that is required by the board. Um, and then we have NCLEX review, where for students who are needing to pass their exam. So both of them are essentially the same student. It's just the remedial does go a little bit further because in order for them to retest, we must kind of check off on them and make sure they did everything correctly. And it also includes clinicals. So we have the clinical portion. So it's almost like looking at it like a mini nursing program, if you will.
Mhm.
And NCLEX review is the NCLEX review, and we do ACLS, BLS, any auxiliary courses for the students who may need it once they've passed their exam. as well.
Wow. Got you. And I love that you have the elite membership as well. Talk to us a little bit about the elite membership and who is that program for?
So I started Elite membership one day. Well, students always ask me, like, okay, class is done. What do I need to do? Like, is there anything else? And I'll be
Mhm.
like, no, class is done.
Mhm.
And that's when, obviously, this is a student telling me what they need, right? Not me thinking what they need. And the student said, hey, like, do you have where, we can come back to class? And I'll say, you want to come back to class? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, okay. So I created a membership for students to pay monthly in order to come back to class. So they came
Mm,
back to class. And then I added two classes to it, which was on Wednesdays, we have NGN essentials. And on Saturdays, we have coffee and questions. So
mm,
it's like more critical thinking that is needed. In class time, we don't have time to go over some of that stuff that or to kind of drill some of that stuff in.
mhm,
And we get time on Wednesdays and Saturdays to practice questions, talk about concepts, and kind of bridge the gap between the critical thinking of knowing a disease, but actually understanding and being able to apply what we know from the disease. Um,
mm,
that's what we added to the elite membership, and students love it. They come to class in the morning, class at night, class on Saturday, class on Wednesday. There are some students are with us 4 days a week.
mm.
And they love it because it keeps them accountable and it keeps them involved so that they are able to pass their tests. And after they're done, they start talking like me. I can hear myself in them, and I'm like, yeah,
You're ready. You're
yeah,
ready to.
you're ready. Yeah.
Okay, so to me, it sounds like that's a huge part of your secret sauce of why you have a 98% NCLEX pass rate for your students because they have the ability to really critically think and learn test strategy and really feel prepared for the exam because I think a lot of it is preparation, right? If you don't feel prepared, of course you're not going to pass. You know what I mean? So can students who are in the review and the remediation program also join the elite membership? How does that work?
Absolutely, yes. Anybody can join, even if you've never been a student with us. They can join the elite membership. It just won't include certain things if you've never been a student. But most times than not, when students are in the elite and they've never been to one of our classes, they want to come. They're signing up to becoming
Mm.
one of our students because when they start hearing about the books and the class and the questions bank, they get excited and they want to start as well.
Got you. And I love that you just brought up the books because I want to talk about that for a little bit. Um, you know, our we created software, but I also am very passionate about making sure that your operations as a whole is more streamlined. And I know when we met, you're like, yeah, I print the workbooks and I mail them out. And I was like, why are you doing this? Why why is that happening? And so tell me a little bit about why you trusted, us to change that process for you and what does this new process look like for you?
So once again, tired. We had to manually print them, manually bind them, manually put them together. If you can imagine, took hours.
Because how
And
many books do you have?
it's 12 for each student.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So imagine printing out 12 books, and they're not small. We're talking about at least 50 pages for each. And the test strategy is a lot more than that. So hundreds and hundreds of paper. We're talking about like 600 or so pages of paper. So we had to bind all of that. Okay. I had to hire somebody to actually do that, do it
Hmm.
properly. It sounds easy. It's not, right? And to make sure each book looks the same was stressful. And so we got that going, right? I had to bind it, put it in the box, mail it out, ship it to the student in a timely manner. Now, what we've done is streamline it where it is coming directly from Amazon and Amazon ships it, and I never touched the book. She was like, "You want to order more books for yourself? No, just have Amazon do it."
Yeah.
So the students, look, you want to make your payment as soon as possible because they want to pay the last minute. They don't want
Mm-hmm.
to pay last minute. But let's not do that. Let's pay now. Let's go ahead
Mm-hmm.
and get your book shipped out to you. And that is also another selling point because they're like, "Oh, books coming? Oh, okay." Even though I would say it before, but it was like, "Oh, come and pick them up." And so it felt like this quick process to them. But
Mm-hmm.
now that they have to actually wait for them to come to them from Amazon, it
Mm-hmm.
gives them that sense of urgency to pay their deposits right away.
Awesome. And I love that a person would think, oh, well, if I'm getting my books shipped out from Amazon, it's going to cost me more than if I do it myself. What
Yeah,
would you say to that?
that is not true. Not when you have to pay people to do it. And when you pay people to do it, it doesn't come out to the same because they might make one when you could have made five. They slow
Mhm.
down, it's not fast enough. So with doing it through Amazon, I'm able to even make my numbers look the best because it doesn't change. Whatever they
Mm.
charge for this, that's what they charge. Versus with the books, it could wax and wane of what it is.
Mhm.
Based on
And then
how
you have to, sorry, go ahead.
based on how many they've made in that time frame that I paid for.
Mm. And you have to buy paper and ink and ship. Yeah, it's a
The
lot.
printer,
It's a lot because you need a heavy duty printer for that. You can't just
you need
use.
a heavy duty printer. This is not a printer you're getting at Staples. Okay, this is a heavy duty, thousands and thousands of dollar operation
I love
for
that.
for it to be the quality in which I require.
Mhm.
'Cause you can get those things, but then what will it look like, and how long does it take to print? That's
Mhm.
also a thing. They print very slow, and so it's so many different factors.
Mm.
Definitely took that burden oh, off my head. So now I don't even have to touch the book. I don't have to show up at post office to do anything. We order them. It goes directly to their mailbox. They pick it up, and they have their books. That's the easiest process.
Yes, I love that. And I was excited to work on that book project because, there's not a lot of representation of African Americans in medical books. You know what I mean? With those animated images, every time you see it, it doesn't look like us. So to be able to include African American images in your workbooks is like we
Yeah,
could do that.
yeah. I
Yeah.
was driving nuts crazy with pictures. Like, I want a picture for this. I want a picture for this.
Mhm.
But she did it very well. I mean, we were up late trying to get it done, but that's what you're getting. Nas will push you. You can be tired, stressed out. No, she's like, let's go. We got to get these books done. We got a deadline. We got to go. So you also got that type of person on your team.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, I try. So talk to me a little bit about what is happening now because you're able to travel, you're going on vacation. Why are you able to do that? And were you able to do that before with the automation that you had previously set up?
Um, I would be up more. So even though I would be on vacation or away,
Mhm.
I would have to wake up, get things going, looking, making sure things were done. But now, because everything is automated, I don't feel that rush to like I'm gonna wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning like I used to go and make sure the next day is good. Was the
Mhm.
link sent out or is it already set up? Just like the little things if class is going to start and just going through that checklist in my mind of things that need to be done before class starts. I no longer have to do because the Zoom link is there. And if for whatever reason the Zoom link doesn't work, whatever, I know that it'll be done like this.
Mhm.
So I don't no longer like stress over those little things of of automating, or there's like the little things of making the everyday time work. Like sometimes class is going and I don't even realize class has started. On a Tuesday and Thursday, I'm like, it's 8 o'clock. Oh, so we had class today. Ah, I'm no longer like, oh my gosh, it's 5:30. What is everything in order? Is everything in place? No, I don't feel that way anymore.
Mm, I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah, you don't
I
know
love
that. Every time it's I'm stressing out. And we also don't get as many calls anymore. Like, be like, oh, I can't get into Zoom. I can't do this. I can't. We really don't even get that many calls anymore when class starts. Really don't. If they do call, it's not about something totally unrelated.
I love that for you because the goal is when you start a business, one day, we pray one day we won't need a worker in our business. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm so grateful for technology because it is giving business owners an opportunity to start stepping away little by little. You're stepping away little by little until that day comes where you're like, I have all the instructors, I have this, I have that, I have all my salespeople to help the students make a decision on the class that they need to take. You have all of these things built. And so now you're like, I haven't even checked on my business in a week, in a month,
Yeah, right,
and
right.
that's the goal.
That's definitely a goal. That's definitely a goal. I definitely look forward to that part, especially with the selling and getting that part more streamlined, is which I've talked to
Mhm.
you about already, and we already have a plan in place to get that going.
Mhm.
But that is definitely a goal, and where I will just meet once a week. Okay, everybody's okay. You need anything?
Yeah.
And then I fade into the background again. That would be lovely. That's
Mhm.
what I would
Yeah.
love.
And then you can pour more into your business. I don't think people
Yeah.
realize that when you're resting, you can think.
Think.
You can plan, you can
Yes,
put more into your business. But when you're like literally a worker, a
every
nine
day.
to five, yeah, you can't. You
You
can't.
can't. And it can be such a simple answer. I found out simple things and I'm like, why didn't I think about that? That's so simple. Like even when you telling me, well, why don't you just get the bookstore off of Amazon? That's like simple, right? It's like a simple thought. Like people are Amazon is a thing, and Barnes and Noble, these things are things. Why didn't you think about that? Well, if you're working every day in the business, you can only go so far. You can't look outside. It's like you're stuck inside. You
Yeah.
can't go outside and say, okay, how can I get more students? Like that more students thing won't ever, you can't even get to that thought because you are working on every single thing, every problem a student has. I mean, they have problems, they create problems, right? And so now you're running around like a chicken for their problems. And so if you're doing that, you can't focus on getting better and getting more people. You
Yeah.
definitely can't. No, if you tell me you can, that's a lie. I'm telling you. I've done it. I've tried it. It doesn't work. When you're every day, you're in it. You're wondering what happened with this, what happened with that. Da, 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 da. You can't. You can't. You
Mm,
don't have the mental capacity to think how you should be thinking. And like I said, it could be such a simple thought, but because you're so stressed out, tired, overworked, because you're work. I'm working. I was working way over 40 hours.
yeah.
Way oh, way
What do
over.
you think you're working now each week?
Probably 10, 10-ish.
Okay, you
Yeah.
close. You closer to zero than you were. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Because I just do check-ins. Hey, was this done? Was that done? Yeah, that was done. Oh yeah, I emailed. Oh yeah, I did that. And okay, yeah,
Wow. 10-hour work week, people. That's what automations can do for you and systems.
absolutely.
I love that. I love that. So I do want you to take a moment right now because I don't own a school. I just help with school operations. But if a school owner was listening right now and they were still teetering between decisions and they're like, well, my Google Forms are working just fine, whatever they have in place, and they're not really ready to take the leap to try something new, what would you tell them?
I would say do it, and let me tell you why. I spent many years, and the years go by fast. I spent many years trying to figure out what the system would be. And you think you have a good system until you have a new thought. And now you're chasing after the next thought and the next thought. When you have Nas in place or SchoolPro in place to the team, because it's not just her, right?
Mhm.
When you have that team, you can get so much done, so much organization, organizing things. And you think, okay, well, I need to come to her already organized. No, you don't. You
Mhm.
don't. You don't. Tell her your problems. She'll give you a solution and a plan, emails with the plan. Okay. And so you're able to go forward and get more students. It's all about organizing and putting things and streamlining what you need and the customer service. I can't tell you how many times students think that there's like 5011 people over here customer service working with them. Like, you will have a team, you will have things in place so that you can be great and do what you need to do as a school owner and an administrator to get forward and get more students, because at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do, is get more students so we can help more people. And so if you're worried about this job form that then goes somewhere that doesn't talk to something, you're doing it backwards.
Mm.
You're doing it backwards. So definitely reach out. Like, that was my biggest thing, was automation. And you don't know you need automation until you get into the automation. Then you're like, oh, this is good. So make the things talk to each other, get the everything streamlined so that you're able to rest at night and know that everything is going to be okay.
Yeah. And the security is there too. I know um,
Mhm.
when I have discovery calls, they're like, well, we have contracts signed and we take payments and all those things. It's a secure system that's doing that for you. So
Yeah,
it's okay.
secure. Yeah, secured system, and you have somebody you could piggyback off of to get make sure you're doing things in the way that needs to be done. And now we're going to talk about the
Strategic calls. Let's talk about that for a little bit because, again, software is important to me, but operations is really where I thrive. That's my jam. So I know a lot of business owners are technically solopreneurs in a sense. You know, you're wearing all the hats.
Mhm.
So, what allowed you to even trust to have a conversation with me for strategic planning and operations in your business?
You know what you're talking about. Yeah, you've I've talked to you long enough. And knowing that you've helped me solve so many problems, and problems come up all the time, right? Solving the problems are the main thing. And when you are tired and running around, it's like you need someone who sees the bigger picture and they're able to say, okay, this is how you should do this. And just that little piece of advice always helps me to do better, because I get attached to stuff.
We
So
learn
she
something
has
new
to
today.
detach. This is how you should be looking at it. And so that we're able to go forward and do better. So I definitely am so grateful for our strategic calls. I love them.
Yes, and it's natural. Like I don't think business owners understand. Like it's very normal to be attached to a process. It's very normal to not kind of want things to change too much because your business is your baby. Just like we don't like seeing our kids growing up and you're like you miss the old days and you'll have those nostalgic feelings. However, this is a business. So you have to think about your bottom line. You have to think about your revenue. Are you wasting money? How can I
Mhm.
operate more lean? And when you have a third party to come in and say, I see your business like this, you see your business like this because you're in it. But when you are able to step out, I'm like, well, if you make this decision now, in 2 years from now, you'll benefit. You know what I mean? So it's okay to be attached to processes, but that is sometimes why you have to talk to someone else to say, nah, that's
Yeah,
not it.
exactly. And we did quite a few things. We changed our pricing. Remember that? We changed pricing.
Yeah,
We changed all the things that I was paying for the month.
yeah.
That decreased. Even people, I didn't need to hire certain staff anymore. That
Mm,
payroll, y'all already know payroll is a beast.
Yeah.
right? And trying to get that down, that helped as well. So I mean, if I was to add it, I'm telling you, you saved me thousands of dollars a month. I'm
Yay.
not
That's
even lying, like thousands between
mm,
payroll and different processes that I had to pay for, phone, this, that, everything just adds up. Paper, paper, the printer, all the things, right? I mean, paying a lot of money a month. So that also helped me. So you're not just gaining a software, you're gaining to save in your business and to be able to streamline the bottom line,
mm, I
the
like
money that you will
that.
save. So it's not just, oh, I just got this software and that's all I need. No, you got to look at the whole picture. And that's what she does, is looks at the whole picture and see where the holes are and fill them. You may not like what she's saying some of the time. You're like, but I'm attached to that. I like it. But it really does make sense. And then when you do it, you're like, oh, this is what she was talking about. I got
Mm,
it. You know what I mean? So it definitely, it's not just the system. Not. It's not just the system, it's the whole package of your whole entire business, streamlining that whole thing and seeing where the holes are, plugging those up, and being able to do better on a leaner, like you said, leaner budget, which
yes.
really helps because then that money can go somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah, and you cannot run a business without money. So, as a small business owner, we have to stop wasting money. That's like my biggest pet peeve. I'm like, you could cuss me out, but we cutting this, we getting rid of this because it's always a better way. And until you are making like your business, you should be able to invest the money that you make in your business back into your business. A lot
Right.
of business owners are still pulling from other areas and or working a job, to support their business. And you don't have to do that with proper planning.
Mhm.
So thank you for trusting us with your business. Congratulations on 10 years. I'm so excited for all the things that we're going to be releasing because you hit that 10-year mark and your growth is just going to continue. You're helping so many people and God is going to keep blessing your efforts. So I'm happy to be a part of it.
Amen. Thank you. I appreciate you. I always tell you that, but I
Yeah.
appreciate you so much. It helps.
Yeah. It's synergy. It's synergy. Thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, I'm Naz, and this is was Sheehan, and we had an amazing conversation today about business growth, but specifically making sure that all of your ducks are aligned so that you can rest in your business because that is so important. So tune in for another conversation, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.
Bye.